Pharma 9% gone on that. But let's get to a corporate conversation now. Shares of JK Lakshmi Cement are higher in trade after the company reported a good Q4. The key positive was the margin expansion. We generally haven't seen margin expansion in cement companies, but for JK Lakshmi, margins expanded to 16.7% versus about 11% year on year. That said, the volumes were a bit of a disappointment. Volumes declined by 4% year on year. To talk about the way forward, we have Arun Shukla, President Director of JK Lakshmi Cement, to take a few questions for us. Thank you for joining in. First, if you can guide on the volume front, what's the guidance on, in terms of volumes for FY25? And can you break it up in H1, H2?
Yeah, so our volume guidance is 10% plus. H1 is going to be around maybe 8% and H2 around 12%. So that is what we are targeting. The reason for a little lower H1 is April, June is not good because of the general election which is happening. And I hope that, after elections, things are going to be better in terms of demand, and hence our growth also will improve. So overall 10% plus, that is what my volume guidance is.
And so what's the pricing trend looking like? What is the current price versus the average of Q4 and your expectation as the year progresses?
Yeah, so prices, once demand improves, prices also will improve. April, June, price-wise, April, May has not been so good because, January, March also prices were stable or going down. April, May also has not been good in terms of prices, and primarily because of the demand. Once demand improves, prices also will go up. From here on, I see that prices will definitely improve, and means at least 1.5 to 2%, 2.5%. That is what I see the price increase. This is what my estimation is based on the fair estimation which I can do as of today.
Sorry, sir, April, May prices, what are they currently compared to Q4 average? You said they're subdued. How much lower?
Yeah, a little subdued, so maybe around a percentage lower than quarter.
And this price increase of 1.5 to 2.5%, how soon will you be able to effect it?
I think that will somewhere, it will happen maybe once demand improves in the month of June and post Diwali. That is what I see prices will.
All right. So that's the view coming in on pricing also. Can you talk about this margin improvement that you've seen? What can you guide now on your EBITDA per ton, because you're also focusing on renewable power?
Yeah, so before that, I think I'll tell you what we have been doing for the last more than 1 year. We have been focusing on all those efficiency parameter or levers within our control. So we have done quite a bit on top line part of it, be it segment mix, geo mix, or product mix. We have also been doing quite a bit in supply chain, improving supply chain efficiency using technology, and cost front, particularly operations front. Our focus was on renewable energy and alternate fuel. All these initiatives are going to, take, further, impetus and focus going forward. Our focus is to further improve upon all these parameters, particularly on cost front. We are going to improve our renewable proportion of energy. Last quarter, our renewable energy proportion was close to about 47%, and on an overall basis, last year it was about 37%. So we are trying to take it to 50% in FY25. Similarly, AFR also, we have established capability to use AFR at our different integrated plant. So there also I see some kind of improvement going forward. So these are the two elements which is going to give us benefit in terms of improvement of margins and supply chain efficiency. Of course, I think this is one thing which we have been working on this aspect incessantly, that will continue to work on. There also I think I see improvement going forward. And of course, I think you mentioned about volume. I think our volume was little bit lower on account of some of the outsourced units which we had. Those units were not making much of a sense, so we reduced our volume from those outsourced units. Otherwise, if you see our capacity utilization last quarter was close to 90%, and for the whole year it was 81%. So which is better than the average of the industry.
Mr. Shukla,
yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Shukla, sorry, so just to go back to the central question, now that you're expecting better volumes, particularly in the second half, you're expecting some stability on pricing, and your sort of your power mix is changing more towards the renewable side. All put together, EBITDA per ton, what is a realistic expectation to have? I believe your last 2 quarters, you've been around 1,000 rupees per ton. Can you just tell us where were you in Q4 and what's the projection now with all these measures?
Yeah, Q4 it was 1,049 our EBITDA, and this is what we have been working on, crossing this 1,000 rupees per ton EBITDA barrier, so which we have crossed in the last 2 quarters. Going forward, also our endeavor is to be around that only, but along with that, I would mention that we'll measure our performance in terms of EBITDA per ton of the industry leaders. We want to be amongst top 3 to top 5 companies in terms of EBITDA per ton. This is what our plan is, and for that we have put up our actions also around this.
Okay, just a follow-up question on just to understand pricing and volume. Volumes, you're saying that overall growth for the current fiscal year should be 10%. The election impact will be over and done in Q1, but then the monsoon period sets in. So Q1 and Q2, will volumes be flat, best case, or will there still be some decline in Q1 and Q2?
So Q2 is going to be better last year Q2 because some of the leftover demand will come in the month of July. August, I think, is going to be almost the same. September definitely is going to be better than last year September. So my estimation is Q2 is going to be better than last year.
Q2 will be better than last year, so we should have some volume growth. Now on pricing, I mean, can you give us some more color on the competitive intensity and again, by when does the pressure start abating? I mean, is it realistic to expect pricing increases perhaps as we get to that Q2 period when even volumes will improve, you're saying?
I think you need to look at, the capacity addition which is happening. Overall, industry capacity utilization is about, 67 to 68%. If you see, CAGR, 5-year CAGR of capacity addition is 5.4%. And demand is 5.2%. So capacity utilization is lower in cement industry, and that is what has been traditionally even before. Because this industry is cyclical in nature. So July, August, September typically low, so you have a lower utilization. And then March, January, March, and October, March, people utilize their excess capacity. So that is what it is. So I think this situation is going to remain. And price movement is going to be dependent on the demand, progression. And typically this happens during Q1 of every year and Q3, Q4 of every year. So this is what I think that pattern will continue even going forward.
Yeah, except this Q4 was different, right? We had pricing compression, so it was a bit of an unusual fourth quarter for cement companies.
It was an aberration, yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about capex. Just a word on capex as well. I mean, there is capacity utilization across the sector. Your numbers have been trending higher as well. Nigel tells us that your capex for FY24 all put together was about 1,000 crores. What's the projection for the current year?
So current year, I think Surat grinding station we are commissioning. So we'll be commissioning around Q3 of this year. So their total capex is about 225 crore. Apart from that, we have railway siding which we are commissioning at Durg. So that is getting partially over. Maybe I think by Q2 we'll be concluding there at that as well. So that is about 220 crore. So around 500 crore. That is what the capex. Along with that, some of the announcements which we have done, like 4.6 million ton capacity addition in central and eastern part of India. So part of that is going to be, spent during, FY25. So exact estimation I do not have as of now, but that we can kind of, consider some part of it is going to be spent this year.
Okay. Just a quick word. What is the current debt? Can you give us the number?
So current debt, I think our net debt EBITDA standalone basis is, 0.22, right?
Okay. And the absolute debt?
Absolute debt, I'll just give you the number. I think I'm not carrying that number, but I think that is not much. Maybe it's 0.22, maybe around 700 crore or odd, right?
Okay. And any chance of a fundraise to fund the capex?
Of course, I think it's going to be in the ratio of 2:1. So we have already announced, 2,500 capex for 4.6 million tons. So it's going to be in the ratio of 2:1 in terms of debt and internal accrual.
And since we're talking capex, money utilization, funding plans, is inorganic growth a route that you're considering at the moment? Anything on the radar? What's the thought process there, sir?
I think right now our focus is on greenfield and brownfield expansion, and that is what we are focusing on. But we cannot rule out some opportunity comes in which really gives value to us, and that's also fits into our strategic perspective. Definitely, we'll look at that as well.
Okay. All right. We'll have to leave it on that note. Out of time, but thank you very much for joining in and giving us some idea about the business. That's JK Lakshmi Cement. Q4 has been good because of strong hold and strong control on costs. Though, of course, volumes, pricing, not the best in this quarter for this company and most of the cement companies, actually. That's been the nature of Q4. We'll take a break on that note. We'll come back on the other side and talk commodities. We'll have Manisha Gupta joining in.